My artwork and my music are both inspired by similar things, dreams, life experience, relationships, reading. So I tend to focus on one for a period of time and then focus on the other, but I'm constantly going back and forth. I make art and make music in the same space. So I wouldn't say they're very separate at all. Definitely an artist from a young age. I used to do graffiti, murals as a kid. And I grew up in a really great artistic community in Seattle, Washington, in a part of the city called Fremont. I was a classical musician. From about 4 years old, I started playing the cello. My mother made me practice a cello. Every single day, she made me practice. I played in the Seattle Youth Symphony until I was about 12, and then I heard rap music, and it was all over. I started rapping. Totally blew my mind at that time, And then I got into playing the guitar. I started skateboarding and got into punk rock. That was a soundtrack to skating. I got accepted to RISD right out of high school. And then the group of friends that I became close to, all very talented and interesting and diverse, international group of people, made me take my talent more seriously. I had done screen printing before I went to RISD, had my own little studio growing up. I kind of went back to that. A lot of my friends and colleagues were making screen printing work too, so kind of got involved in that whole scene. I definitely did some show posters because I thought more about the work I was doing in a fine art sense of being able to show in a gallery. And then, there's this kind of really healthy competition, if you will, that happened in Rhode Island where a number of the artists were making screen prints, and it would be like, how many colors is this one? Oh, this is 10, or how many colors is that one? I did 20 on this one, or I don't know, somebody must have got up to 50 colors on a screen print, something ridiculous. But then I started thinking about my work in a larger scale, getting off of the confines of just a single piece of paper. And I started using parts to create larger scale collages and installation pieces, which was like putting paper on the wall. So then it started to have sculptural aspects to it, which then got me thinking about space and transforming space, manipulating space, and how to make larger scale work and not be confined. In college, I got on this huge kind of trip where my work was a search for my own identity. I was adopted at a very young age, maybe 6 months old. And my own connecting with my African American heritage, Native American, Irish, I was really inspired, I guess predominantly by Africa and being in Rhode Island, and being that Rhode Island was one of the main points of arrival for slaves in the slave trade. And I kind of really investigated that a lot, and it helped me kind of feel like I was learning about myself, connecting to my ancestors. That time was a huge influence on me. It made me feel like this sense of responsibility to kind of tell these stories that weren't more than a chapter in a history book in our high school curriculum. This is actually Rapidiograph ink, which I love. It's so opaque, and it goes on like water, and it's a little bit texturally different than acrylic, which I like to have areas, especially when I'm working with acrylic, that pop out like this, concentrated areas. Sometimes I'll use an enamel that's for metal or something like that, just to have a different texture and pop out on the piece. These images are stencils, so that's spray paint. whatever it is, if it's the ritual, if it's the tradition of the artisan tradition, or if it's the somehow how sound and color can be healing or something. It's like, I'm a part of that, or that's what I feel a part of that tradition, which I think is important. I mean, I've made work for many, many years, but there's something fun that I still feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of what, my potential is, which is a wonderful feeling because it kind of keeps you going. I think I have a lot more to do, but I think the fact that we continue to do it, and it's almost relentless that when you have some kind of vision, you have to stay on it and accomplish it and keep pushing forward. So far, so good. Now, I'm interested in, musically, this project I have now called Blue City, which is all based in Providence, Rhode Island, all local musicians. We have great chemistry, we have a great time. Primarily rhythm and blues, kind of country blues, soul, and rock. We started recording an album recently, so that's all exciting. It seems like it's this very particular group of people that get to experience this work sometimes. It's exciting to think about having the work be more accessible to the general public, like site-specific installation work, outdoor work, and also having the work be in, museums and institutions that people frequent to see contemporary art. So that's a lot of what I've been thinking about now. What has been kind of inspiring me and pushing me forward for the last several years has kind of been these ideas of storytelling and narrative and mythology and recreating it and somehow making what is completely unbelievable, like believable somehow, or I guess that's kind of what the magic of making art is for me. I feel like I have to make art. I want to believe it's somehow making a positive mark on humanity in some way. It's somehow an antithesis to all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world. Making art that is informing people about struggle or war or natural disaster is somehow, whether it's making it beautiful or making it ugly, but sharing that information with other human beings is somehow fulfilling. It's like what I'm supposed to do. Over the border, from your heart into your mind, say you lost your soul along the way. Now you say you cannot find the time.